Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about how you can configure the menu in Easy2Boot. So you may want a different background, you may want to have a different heading, different colours, different border, you may want to move the menu over, or you may want to change the colours of the text, the footer text here at the bottom, and I'll show you how to do that. So on the Easy2Boot website, in the Configure E2B page, you'll see there is a screenshot here, or a layout here of the screen. And we've got a few things on here you should take note of. So we've got a heading here, which is this main heading here in Easy2Boot. We've got a thing called HPad, which is the padding before the heading. We've got the heading position, which is here, it's in the diagram it's shown as 01, 00, so that's one line down and no lines across. But in this menu here, I've actually got it as 0000, so it's the top line. We've got the right start, which is 19, so this is the position from the border here to the start of the menu, so that's that distance across there. Top start is 6, so that's how many lines down the top of the menu starts. The menu width determines the width of the menu, so how many characters you can get across here. If the line is too long, the characters will just be cut off, but they don't wrap round. So top help, this is set. This sets the position of the help text here, which normally you want to be just at the bottom of the menu. And you've got here 4 lines to play with, basically, of help text, plus another line which is sometimes used by the Grub for DOS text. So basically you need to have 5 lines of text below your menu where you can have the help text from the menu. So if I move the menu up and down, you can see that help text is changing. So you need to have 5 lines available for this text here. If you make the position of the help text too low down, it'll go off the end of the screen and you won't see it. So you need at least 5 lines down there. And then you've got the help footer text, which is this HDD0, F7, F8, F9, etc. That's defined in the configuration file. This is the position of the text at the bottom of the menu. You can have it anywhere you like, but normally you'd have it at the bottom. So this is the actual my E2B configuration file that I've used for this menu. Must start with shriek bat, because it's a batch file, and then you can set your various options. So G mode is the graphics mode, so it's going to be 800 by 600. I'd advise you to always use 800 by 600 because nearly all computers will support 800 by 600, whereas many won't support 1024 by 768, for instance. The background bitmap you can set here. So this is the path to the bitmap file, or it can be a compressed.gz file. You just specify it here. If it doesn't exist, which is the case in this case, it'll just use the default background. H color is the heading color, which in this case is green here. So the first digit is the background brightness, which doesn't count in this case because it's in graphics mode. So therefore the background is transparent. So the only 2 things that matter is the next one, the second number, which is just either 0 or 1, which means a bright or normal. So bright green or normal green in this case. And the last one, which is the color, which goes from 0 to 7, and in my case it's green, so it's RGB. So R is 4, green is 2, and blue is 1. So because it's 2, it's green. If I change that to 3, then that would be both green and blue. So green and blue mixed, and 1 means it's bright green and blue. So we would get a different color, which in this case here would be cyan. So the colours are explained in the sample My E2B configuration file. The next thing is the heading. You can see I've got the heading here, which is this heading here. So /x20 is the code for a space symbol. If you didn't have this at the beginning, then these spaces here would not count, and you wouldn't see them on the screen. So it would all be shifted to the left. Head pos is the heading position. So the default is normally line 1, but here I've got it set to 0, but it's commented out, so it's not actually taking effect. You see here, I've got head pos here. Hpad is the padding before each heading. Now normally this is automatically calculated by E2B, and it's taken from the R start value, which is the right hand start value for the menu, so that's this distance here. So automatically E2B will pad with these much spaces before the heading, so that the heading will always start at the left of each menu. The menu width is the width of this entire menu, so it's how many characters you can fit across that menu box. Top start is the top start of the menu, so these are all menu settings. Number of items is the number of items that are in the menu, so you can see here it stops at 9, but there's actually room for a lot more, so it determines basically the depth of this menu. And the top help is the position of the menu help text, which is here, so that replaces BIOS, USB code, etc. is the 28th line down. So top help is 28. The help text is defined here, so HDD0 F7 etc. is this text here, HDD0 F7, and the HBTM is the help text bottom position, which here is 3602, so it's the 36th line down, which is actually the last line if you're in 800 by 600 mode, and 2 is 2 across. And the footer colour is 0101, so again 01 here means bright, and the one there means blue, so it's bright blue, which is what we've got here. So if we go down to colours, these are the colours that we're going to use for the different versions of text in the menu. Normal is the normal menu entry, so these are these dull red ones here. So you see I've got a value of CC0033. So CC is the red value, so it's 0 to FF. GG is the green value, again 0 to FF, which is 0 in my case, so I've got no green in there at all. And BB is the blue colour, which is 33 in this case. So it's a mixture of red and blue, and you can see it's a sort of almost pinky colour red. Highlight is the colour that the highlighted menu entry will be. So you see I've got FF0000, which is full red, full green and no blue, and so it comes out as yellow, as you can see here. The help text is FF, which is all colours on, red, green and blue on, which is white, which is here. That's the help text at the bottom of the menu. The standard is CC00CC. Now this is the colour of the console text that you'll get, and you'll see that when Easy2Boot first loads. So if I press F8 on here to reload the menu, you'll see we've got a sort of purpley colour. Okay, and finally the border. So the border here is the border around the menu, and you can define the width of this border, or you can get rid of it completely by defining it, having a width of 0 here will make the border disappear. So again I've got full red, CC for green, so about 3/4 green and no blue, which gives us this yellow colour here. So to test this menu, the best thing to do is to use either use QEMU in RMPrep USB or use VirtualBox with David B's VMUB utility. Now there's a trick here. When you're using RMPrep USB, for instance, don't use the F11 button, because that will dismount the drive and make it hard for you to change anything in the menu. So basically the file will not be writable whilst you're running QEMU. So you can go to drive and you can do Control Shift F11, and that will run QEMU, but it just won't lock the drive. So the drive isn't fully locked for writes, for disk writes. So I've actually got QEMU running here. So I've booted to the menu. So this is actually running live, and I'll just change something. So maybe I'll just change the border width. So we'll change that to 3, for instance, and then I can write the file straight away here. And then without exiting QEMU, I can just press F9 for reset, and there we go. So that's the way you can easily change anything you like in the menu, and then just press F9 to reset it. Some things you can actually press F8 on, so colours, for instance, here. If you change those, you could just press F8 and it will reload the menu very quickly whilst you're in the main menu. But other things like the border, you need to press F9 to reset, to do a reboot. So just to demonstrate this, let's try changing the right start. So we'll have right start is maybe 2, so the menu will move over to the left quite a lot. The menu width here is 62, so we could make that say 84. And the top start here, it's 4 lines down, so we could maybe make that 2 lines down. So I'll save that, and then I'll reboot. So here we go. So we've got the menu is right over to the left now, because the right start is about the minimum that you can use with E2B, because there has to be 2 lines free, the border, and then there's the marker line here. And you can see that the start of the menu has actually moved up now. So top start is 2, so the border is the first line, and the actual top start of the menu is the second line here. So you can see that by changing these you can alter the position of the menu, and the width, of course, here is now much wider, because I've changed the menu width here to 84. So at this point I just explain how to use VirtualBox to boot Easy2Boot, because that's an alternative to QEMU, and VirtualBox is much faster. So you should download and install the David B's VMUB, Virtual Machine USB Boot utility. And if you follow the instructions in tutorial 4 on the RM Prep USB website, you'll see how to get this going. But basically, once you actually set this up and run it once, it will set up VirtualBox Manager to have the correct VMD file in it. And once you've done that, to test Easy2Boot, you should run it just using VirtualBox. So don't use David B's VMUB utility to run it, because that will lock the drive and you won't be able to update the my-e2b.config file dynamically when the Easy2Boot is actually running. So the same with QEMU, in that you don't want it to lock the drive. So once you've got this working and it's booting in VMUB, you can get rid of VMUB and just run it straight from the Oracle VirtualBox Manager. And you can see that the booting is much quicker. And if I just do an F8 on here, that's much faster than QEMU. And F9 to reset, again, is much faster. So now we can quickly test different things. So if I get rid of the border, for instance, I could just do File Save, and then F9 to reset. And there's the border gone. So it's very quick to test if you use this arrangement. Okay, now the last thing I need to explain here is head pos and HPAD. By default, this is set in Easy2Boot to be 0, and HPAD is set to the rstart value, basically. So HPAD is actually just the padding, the spaces padding that you'll get before a heading. So let's just just for the sake of showing you what this can be, I'll put set hpad equals and then a load of x's. So I'll save that file, and then I shall just press F8 to reboot. Now you can see where the x's are here. So it's what we use to move the headings across. So you can see here we've got the x's here, which is the hpad, and then we've got the menu heading. So if I go back to the main menu, again it's padding them out. So this is a way that you can change the offset of the menu heading. So let's say, for instance, we want to center all of our headings. Let's just get rid of this, and so you can change hpad, but it's really best to leave it alone, because the way we can move the headings about is to just pad them out manually here. So I'll put more spaces in here, I'll save the file, and I shall reboot, and you can see that it's moved it over there. So maybe we want the border back so we can see what we're doing. When you're doing border and menu stuff, you need to actually do a complete reset rather than just a reboot or F8 reboot. So you can see here I've moved this out, but it's not quite central in this box. I probably need about 8 or so more spaces. So let's put a few more in, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so that's moved it to the center. Okay, and the other thing I need to just explain is that what this head pos does. So this is the heading position. So at the moment it's set to 0, so that's basically the first line in the menu. So you may want to move this down. So let's just change this to say the second line down. And if we do that, we need to move the top of the menu down. So top start, we'll say move to line 4. So let's just see what that looks like. Reset, so press F9. Okay, so we've moved that heading down now, and we've also moved the top of the menu box down as well. So this is looking fairly good now. We've got it. We've got the heading centered, and we can of course move the position of this text at the bottom here, change the colors. But you'll notice that when we go to a sub-menu, the menu heading here is not shifted, it's actually aligned as it was before. So hpad is obviously set to 2, so there's 2 spaces padding before there. We can't just change hpad though. We've got 8 characters here, but on other menus we'll have a lot more. So we can't just have a padding value here the same for all the menus, because some of them the headings will be longer than others and they won't be centered nicely. So the only way we can actually center all these headings is to manually change the spacing before each of the heading menu titles, and I'll show you how to do that now. So here I've got the Easy2Boot USB drive, and this is the root. So we need to find a file called STRINGS.txt. If we go to E2B, ISO, E2B, grub, and you'll see that there's some folders here. So most of these are language folders, apart from the DPMS folder. So just choose the language that you want to use. So in my case, it's English. And you'll see there's a strings.txt file in there. So just copy that and copy it to the _ISO folder. Now this is just a temporary fix. We're not going to leave it there, but this is just for testing and getting everything working. So we'll paste that in. And let's have a look at the file. So this is the file, and you'll see that you've got menu headings. So these are all comment lines because they've got hashes in front of them. And one of the headings we've got here is DOS menu. and you see it's /x20, which is the symbol for a space. So it's space followed by another space, an ordinary space, and then DOS menu. So we've got 2 spaces, and then it says DOS menu. Then we've got a lot more spaces, and then finally we've got a space at the end here just to show us where the end of that string is. Normally it doesn't matter about the spaces at the end unless you're not using graphics mode in E2B. If you're using text mode in E2B, then you will need to worry about these spaces, because they actually blank off the top line of the display and stop you from seeing some grub for DOS text. So it's up to you whether you pad these out nicely or not. But most of the time in graphics mode, if you've got a background, it doesn't matter. So let's just make a quick change to this. So I'll just change this DOS menu, and just to show that it's actually our heading that's altered. Okay, so I'll save that, and we'll see what it looks like. So go back to the main menu, and then I can press F8 to reboot. So that was the DOS menu, so let's go to DOS, and you can see it's changed it to DOS menu SS. And it's pretty much centered, actually. That's lucky. So you can just change all of these other menu headings, and these are the Windows ones. And you may find a few menu headings at the end, but I think at the moment all the menu headings are actually at the top there. So you just need to alter this lot here. Okay, and the final step is to actually move that strings.txt file that you've made. You'll see in the sample E2B.config file there is a line in there which sets the language. So you can set your language to Chinese or Spanish or whatever. What that actually does is it specifies the name of the folder that's under ISO E2B grub. So it specifies the name German or Italian or Polish, and so it will use the strings.txt file from this folder. So what we want is to use our own strings.txt file. So we need to make our own folder. So we can just copy this folder. So in my case it's the English folder, and my name's Steve, so I'm going to copy it to Steve. Okay, so we need to get our strings.txt file, which is here. I need to cut that, so we don't want it there at all. Go to the Steve folder and then just overwrite string.txt. Okay, so now basically these are our language files. So I want to specify a language of Steve so that it uses the files in this folder. There's also an F1 help file there, so that's what, when you press F1, this is the text that you see in here. And if you like, you can change the help text. So you can change the text in this file so that when you press F1, it'll show you different menus. So we need to set the language to Steve, and the way to do that is to set lang equals Steve. So let's try that. Okay, so I've rebooted, and if we go to the DOS menu, you see it says DOS menu SS. Now if we comment out that line so that we're not using it, it should go back to the ordinary menus. We'll do a reset, go to DOS, and there we are, we're back to the normal menu. And actually this line needs to be modified slightly, because it hard codes basically the language to Steve, to your own strings.txt file. If you want to have a menu option which allows you to change the language to something else, there's a slight variation of this line, which is that. And what that means is if the language is not set it to Steve. And this just allows you to have a menu item in your main menu which allows you to dynamically change the menu. But if you're not going to use that feature, you don't need to worry about it. You can just use set lang equals Steve. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please subscribe to my blog and visit my website. Thanks.